This is The Morning Drift. My name is Moses Okech, and of course, I'm joined in by a guest. But before I introduce the guest, of course, this is our lovely Jackson.
Yes, I'm the co-host for today, and also for today's show, we're going to discuss more about art. What's your thoughts on art, and like, what do you think of when you hear the word art? Today, it's a different one because what do you call a person who's addicted to alcohol?
All right.
It's an alcoholic, right?
Alcoholic.
And what do you call someone? So today with us, we're having an artaholic. But meanwhile, my co-host will introduce him. But
it wasn't alcoholic being addicted to art.
No, it's an addiction to art.
It was perfection. It was awesomeness.
Addiction and perfection to art. You know, the
Thank
faster,
you.
You know.
All right.
Actually, I'm not from this country, so I don't understand these things.
But that was in the major conversation.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, of course, we have Mburu Thiongo, Chief Designer, Rustic Furniture. And of course, he has work experience of 9 years. And of course, his basic inspiration is nature. Therefore, he says that the challenge is market and a society with the wrong perspective of art. But before that, let's now give him a space to introduce himself. Tell us what we don't know about you.
Thank you. My name's Mburu Thiongo. I'm an artist and a designer. What sets me apart from my other artists, or what stands out about my art, is I get my inspiration mostly from nature. That is, I mostly explore how nature affects design and how design can have a positive impact on nature. Yeah.
All right, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Sasa tukiona digiriri unatafuta hapo nature.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So, Moses unasema tigiriri. What is tigiriri? For
real.
No, najua pia mimi najaribu kukua I'm aspiring to become an artist. Sasa what do you say by tigiriri? Is there a tigiriri in artistic terms?
I think he has understood it even more, meaning that not just nature, how it was designed, it was perfect, you know. So if the question I always ask is, why try to perfect what nature has already perfected, you know? Like the ants, however small they are, nature has a way it has designed the ant to fit into nature. So that's why other animals, excluding humans, always design their environment according to nature. So I think what you said about the digiriri is you have understood my concept about nature. Every aspect of nature is perfect by design.
Indeed.
Yeah.
All right. Why now have the rustic furniture? What does that mean?
Rustic furniture just means that the wood is natural in its form. You know, somehow when it comes to design, we think that it must be perfect. You know, but when I think my concept to rustic design is it just have to serve the function. Indeed. And look good. Indeed. So rustic means it is raw, the way the wood should be, not over perfected.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So are you an artaholic?
Yeah. I love art, all aspects of art. I just do, let's say, wood. That's my medium. But in broad, I love art, the Broadway, music, all aspects of art.
Kabisa.
Yeah.
So kwa hivyo unaweza chora mtu vizuri.
What's interesting about art in Africa, when you say art, everybody jumps to the kuchora. Yeah. That's just, fine art is just one aspect of art, and just a small part. I can draw, like personally, I can draw, but I can't draw an exact person. My type of art is abstract.
All right.
Yeah.
Abstract no, anajua abstract nini.
We know.
Alright, so unaweza chonga mtu.
Yeah, sculpture. You know, that's another aspect of art. Art is very broad. Yeah.
So unajua huyu anaweza tokea vizuri akichongwa. Akona all aspects of art.
Bedhu ukimchonga pia anaweza tokea. Tunajua pia romba sina kanga pono. So naweza mchonga shape of a
But see, yangu inakaa yangu haina kazi mingi, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just
Straight.
straight.
then unatoboa kashimo ya mapua na mdomo hivi.
All right.
Yeah.
So how did rustic furniture begin?
Rustic furniture, I think that's the original furniture. That's where we began, actually. When you look at, especially traditional African society, the kind of furniture we had can be based as rustic, you know. The Kikuyu had certain stool called jongwa. That stool, every man had that stool. Like when you went to visit your friend to drink beer, you used to carry that rustic stool. So I think it began at, when humans began thinking we need some furniture just to place our. So that's where we began at rustic furniture. Yeah.
Now, of course, Jackson, we are having now Mburu in rustic furniture. Then sasa ningependa kumuuliza wewe ulifikiaje sasa ukasema yenyewe mimi nataka tu kuaspire hii na kuwa pia chief designer wa rustic furniture. Ilianza aje? Was it your dream? Ni kitu ulikuwa umefikiria as you're growing up, si ndio?
When I was young, I always wanted to be an artist, but I never thought the medium would be wood, or I would be, let's say, a carpenter, or be an artist. But it just started as a coincidence. When I finished college, I actually did journalism. When I finished,
Amazing.
My parents had these hardware. So I went to work there before finding another job.
And
I thought one day I needed I think it was a shoe rack. And that's how it began. When I made the shoe rack, I fell in love with the process. I loved how I needed something. I didn't have to spend money. I just used my hands to make it.
Indeed.
And I noticed building can be a fulfilling, not only career, but something to do.
Indeed.
So I enjoyed it.
So
And,
kusomea art.
I
Uchapa
did,
journalism.
I did journalism.
Kusoma news.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. I think that's a good one.
It's a
so
good
so
one.
can we give him a chance maybe to
I also have a question on that, yeah?
Please.
Because umesema like he does, his medium is wood. So you just gather like, where do you get the wood? Like, the way you said it's just perfect in its shape, it's in its nature. To maybe ukienda zile hike, unaona kama ile ni mbao fulani, inaweza tokea kitu fulani unachukua, ama you have your selective measures, or unazipata aje?
I mostly source my wood from I mostly recycle or upcycle wood. Recycle is when you use wood for another purpose. Upcycle is when you use the wood for more purposes. They are different but the same in the concept. But I mostly source my woods from upcycled or recycled sources. Yeah.
All right.
And also most of the time amesema like his art is inspired by nature.
Indeed.
So where do you spend most of your time to get the inspiration? Because like for me maybe I might say like my inspiration is music. We had Michelle here, so naweza kaa hivi, I listen to her songs. So where do you spend most of your time as an artist in the rustic industry?
I mostly spend my time in nature and in the workshop.
What do you mean by nature? Unaingia kwa kichaka, una pen, una chill.
Exactly.
Oh, you don't even fear the wild animals like
Yeah,
utapatana na hyenas?
No,
or
no,
stuff?
no.
Huko tuna hizo stars.
Tunaweza patana
Kwa
nazo.
forest tuna hizo. Zina.
But you have,
I think Malimburu anakaa kuna tatizo.
possibly anakaa karibu na
I
kichaka.
actually live next to Ngong Forest, and there are no predators, but animals, people overthink animals. Animals are not as bad as you think, as long as you respect their boundaries. They're just...
Humans no animals, right?
Yeah, true. They're actually you're more safer with animals than us.
Kabisa.
So you prefer spending time with them? Okay, like ukiwa pale kwa kichaka, like there are challenges unaweza pata pale. Ushaenda kuchukua like some wood unapata maybe it's wet. You have to give it like a span of time before it dries, or when you just get the wood, you can just work on it the way it is, or you have to have some time.
That's a good point, because when it comes to upcycling and recycling. Sometimes you find the wood quality might not be as good as you hope.
Indeed.
And I just work with wood. How wood is a good medium, you know. You just work it with it how it is. You can treat it, you can sand it, you just treat it how it comes.
Alright. I think turudi sasa kwa ile swali ya journalism, si ndio?
Yeah.
So Mburu, mimi ulisema umepiga of course journalism na pia wewe ni msomaji wa taarifa, sivyo?
Yeah.
So of course your camera, then you'll face your camera, then sasa ututangazie vile unaendanga kwa forest, unatafuta miti ama you know, then sasa unazileta, unatengeneza art.
Into action, like,
put your journalism into action,
you know,
and perfection of art.
Yeah.
All right, cheza kama creativity to the fullest.
Okay. So I'm
Alright.
supposed to
Tangaza news.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Breaking news, dun.
So
Ama nikupatie background music ile vile inaanzanga. So tazimba
Ngori.
give me a topic.
Mamba.
Give me a topic.
Topics in woodwork, rustic furniture.
Or art.
yeah.
Yeah. So let me do this. Hello everybody, welcome. So today we'll talk about art and its impact in society. First of all, let's talk about how we view art as Africans.
Okay.
I've noticed that we as Africans, we are the originators of art, but we somehow have lost our way when it comes to art. Because when it comes, for example, to sculptures, where I come from, you find people are superstitious. They fear sculptures. So today I would like to know what happened during the way, and we changed our perspective when it comes to art, even when you look at our parents.
So any documentary?
Yeah.
Any documentary?
Yeah.
And now you're becoming the host.
I actually wanted to major in documentaries.
Nice, yeah.
It's amazing.
But now we come to it, I would like to pose this as a question.
All right.
What happened on how we view art? Because when you look at our parents, no parent would advise his kids to go and pursue music or become an artist. And this is a major issue in our society, because I think msanii ni kioo cha jamii.
Indeed.
I think we learned that.
Yeah.
I think if we will empower our kids to explore art, that would have a positive impact on our society.
So kama wako wanataka pursue music.
Yeah. That's
Sasa leo ndio akaonyesha kwamba
But literally,
she's got
my
talent.
parents don't even. Okay, my mom thinks I can sing and she knows I might sing, but kwa kuimba hapana. Acha tuache tu wenye ameitwa. But singing is also a calling.
So yes,
So kama ujaitwa usiitike. Yangu ilikuwa tu ni 2 moments, 2 minutes of fame, and it's quite
Ukatesa.
an amazing one, because spending time with nature, I get the fact that uko pale kuna breeze, fresh air, you know, but also pia kwa umeshachukua zile wood. So challenge moja, I think sijui kama it's challenging for you, like umechukua hizo mbao hizo zile the wood pale kwa kichaka, the trees, obviously it comes from the trees, yeah?
Yeah.
So how do you manage, like unazitoa, maybe is it a walking distance, or unazichukuaje pale kwa the forest, unapeleka pale kwa your workshop, unaanza kuzichonga nini? So how is it, like take pia how many days, ama unachukua tu like leo nimeamka nazichukua tuzipeleka pale nini, even transport I guess. So like briefly just tueleze ushazichukua unapeleka pale, like the process ili hadi kuwe pia like the process of the whole thing, ukishachukua kuunda pale.
the process. It depends on what I'm making.
Okay.
But it's always I search for the materials, I decide on the design, and then I make the finishing process, which can be a challenge because it's affected by factors like weather and what. I'll say the process is just like any other artist.
Kweli. Sasa vile kuna mvua una manage aje?
Just working with the weather, how it comes.
So
But
unapiga
there's no way around
wait,
weather.
tukisonga.
Yeah, there's no way around weather. You just have to work with it.
All right. Jackson, I think I'm curious about what you mentioned earlier, choosing the choice of what you want to embrace. And one of them, of course, there is the aspect of education, and also there is the aspect of passion. Wewe sasa ukasema kwamba mimi nataka kucharaza art despite the fact now the parents are committed to make sure that I get to journalism to the best level. How did you handle that? Na ukasema japokuwa wamesema hivi, I want to get to my passion.
I think I just, it was a major challenge because everybody was like, you have finished doing this course, we spend a lot of money, and now you're doing something totally different. And at the time it seemed, because I was starting, I had no idea how to actually do it perfect. You know, when it comes to skill, you learn it. Now they are wondering, you are learning a new skill and you have already learned.
Of course. No, man.
So it was very challenging to convince them that this feels more of a calling than a career.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I didn't really convince them 100% until I took the step and did it for like 9 years. That's when
You did 9 years?
Yeah. Now I'm on my 10th year.
Kwani ulimaliza high school lini?
2011.
No, 2011, what class was it?
So much respect, of course.
Yeah.
Everyone is young here.
Yeah.
2011, of course, this one was PP2. PP2, was it?
Yeah.
I was actually in class, yeah, that class. I was in that class.
PP2.
No, not PP2, but I was in that class.
Yeah, so that class is PP2, of course. Ujaniuliza mimi nilikuwa class
Sisi ulizo ulikuwa class, maybe hata ulikuwa
This is Form
units.
4.
Form 4, but you were in what? Grade 3. So you ulikuwa unafanya like, you know, the thing and...
But we didn't grow up together, so you
But obviously you were, okay.
No, but it's much respect. Those are so many years, so
Yeah.
you're an expert in this.
Yeah.
The journey has been, of course, tunaweza zibalance. But also there is the aspect on, in the couple of minutes before we go for a break, there is the aspect of deforestation. Deforestation is za kukata miti. Has that affected your art?
Actually, I center my art around conservation. That's my main focus for the moment. About exploring how design can have a positive effect on. I make sure my that's why I mostly upcycle and recycle. Another way I do this is I make sure my designs are based on nature. As I said in the beginning, why perfect what nature has already perfected.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Kabisa.
Yeah.
So hold it there. Tukikam sasa kwa next session na tutazungumzia mambo mengi kuhusu, of course, now your design, what you've created the most, the best memories, the best output, who you sold to, nini si ndio?
And also when you come back, I also have a contrary question to whatever you just asked me.
All right, we are not here for contrary, though, ladies and gentlemen, of course, we to embrace the contrary from Jackson. Don't go too far. This is The Morning Drift.
How do you start your engine when it is time to drive? Are you a first-time car buyer or want to upgrade your wheels? Do you know your car brand? Is it powerful, stylish, or does it turn heads as you drive past? Well, let's get to know all about wheels on the Daily Drive Show with Ian Otieno as we review all automobiles inclusively, specs on powertrain, interior, exterior, and pricing. Get on board with Ian Otieno for a dose of automobile scene on Lookup TV.
you want to have a proper outlook of the economy, then you have to speak to the wheels and gears of the integral businesses in the country.
And I make the youths and everybody coming up in Kenya know that this is here locally.
Men and women in the thick of the bust of markets rising and falling, fighting to make their business decisions stick.
I've always lived in my career that I can never be late.
You need to train by yourself. You need to practice by yourself. Then from there you can compose yourself and give kind of services like this.
Captain's Arena, we seek the inside of the minds, predict the shift in the markets, get inspiration to start and make sense of it all.
Just watch what everybody else is doing and just make sure you're giving back to the society.
Oof. This is the Captain's Arena.
Kipindi hapa ndipo unajifunza mambo mengi kuhusu ukulima. Kilimo ni uti wa mgongo wa nchi, na ukiwa na Njoro unajifunza. Kumbuka, angalia mwenyewe. Tunakuambia ukitaka kujua tips za ukulima, ungana na sisi kwenye Look Up TV. Every Sunday unatukuta pale saa 10, tunakuonesha kuhusu ukulima. Ukulima wa mimea, ukulima wa ng'ombe, ukulima wa kuku, ukulima wa mbuzi na yote ambayo yanahusiana na ukulima. Kumbuka nini? Kipindi ni Ukulima ni Mali.
All right, welcome back. Now this is the Morning Drift, a conversation with Mburu Thiongo ambaye anatusimulia taswira halisi ya art yake. Of course, earlier on we were speaking about wakikata miti ina affect namna gani, and I remember of course Jackson had a contrary opinion towards this.
My opinion, not even contrary. It's actually an advantage. I guess it's an advantage to him because wakikata miti mingi, see the more the unapata hadi orders mingi. Wakikata miti mingi, unakuwa pena enough wood for your products and everything. Because I don't even see the disadvantage. Okay, sorry, I'm not supporting deforestation.
Maybe you don't understand business.
I'm not supporting deforestation.
Does this make sense to you, Mburu?
It makes sense. It makes sense.
I can say I agree with both of you in this sense.
Mostly me.
But I haven't given my opinion.
He agrees with my opinion.
Give me your opinion.
Wewe yako kwanza eka tusikie.
Right.
When she says about trees, trees are the best options. People say that using trees is not sustainable, but I disagree. Trees are sustainable. Grow another tree, and after you finish the actual use, you cut the tree for you can reuse it, so you can upcycle or recycle, and when its life cycle is complete, the tree is biodegradable.
Indeed.
Compared to the other options like plastic costs more the environment to manufacture, and also after you're done with the plastic, the impact on the environment is more because plastics never degrade.
Indeed.
So when it comes to the discussion if cutting trees is sustainable, it depends on the rate you're cutting the trees. So you don't have to cut trees for, you can use one tree, you can use every part of the tree. You know, when you use the perfect wood to make perfect things, that's when you waste the tree.
Of course.
But it is sustainable when you use the whole tree. That's where the rustic furniture comes.
Nice.
To even out the using of trees. When you use every part of the tree, the branches, the wood. So trees are more sustainable than other options like metal, which when you go to mine, you leave the earth degraded more than trees. Trees, you just cut the tree and you can regrow the tree or plant other trees. But when it comes to other options like plastic or metal, they are not sustainable.
Kweli.
Yeah.
So unakata mti alafu unapanda ingine.
Unapanda ingine.
So that means you're supporting her.
No.
Yes,
Yes.
in a way,
Making sense,
in a
you
way,
see.
but you can look to the disastrous part of cutting trees.
Yeah.
That's where my project Nature in Design comes in.
Indeed.
I explore like previous civilizations
Indeed.
that went wrong cutting trees. We have an example of the Eastern Island. They didn't realize the importance of trees until they left the island without a single tree. That's when they realized you need trees for firewood, for planting, for what? And they had to move out of the island because they no longer had trees. So trees support life. So without trees, there's no life. Yeah.
So hujaipatana na mkono ya serikali wakati ambapo unatafuta miti zako?
Mostly because I don't cut trees. The trees I use are mostly donated, or I find them after a storm, they are fallen down. What? I've never had an issue with the government, and I'm actually looking forward to working with the government to our natural spaces.
So watu wanakudonetia.
Yeah.
So that means kama storm haitapiga mti moja yes kubaya, market iko mbaya.
True, that's one of the challenges I have because I don't cut trees. Sourcing materials sometimes can be tricky.
Kweli.
Yeah.
All right, how long will it take for you to get a proper, tuseme busy kofiti sasa, that donations zimekuwa mingi, storms zimekuwa mingi, then now you get fullness ya miti zako ndio zitakusaidia ku penetrate of course your tengeneza woodwork.
Yeah. You know, I can source even from, like, there's somebody who wants to build a certain structure, but there's a tree. So not just storms, people can donate that tree to me, you know.
Nice. So lazima uko na contacts.
Yeah, true.
And also, kama unakumbuka, when you were starting, you also said that apart from this art, you also have the art of music.
Yeah.
And going through your profile, I saw you also have a studio. I think it's called the Ilmatics Studio.
Studios.
Tell us more about Ilmatics.
Yeah, Ilmatic Studios was one of the things I started. First of all, I called it Ilmatic Studios because of that's one of my favorite hip-hop album by the artist Nas. And it just means lighting the way forward, you know. The main idea was using art as a way to empower the people in the community, you know. That's an industry that can deal with unemployment, you know. When we have musicians that are making money from music, that's a whole other industry we can make money from. When we have artisans, when we have sculptures, when we have people doing fine art, that's a whole industry we can tap into and solve the unemployment issue. So Ilmatic Studios was one of the, I think one of the most important things I did in my life. It not only paved the way for others, but also for me. So I'm very proud of that.
Indeed. Unajua ukiongea story ya my life yenyewe, you've got a life, boy. From 2011 to now, there's 14 years?
Yeah.
Those are 14 years. Who hustled 14 years.
Yeah.
All right. That is really good, and of course you understand so much about woodwork, which is now the element of why we. There are many other people that are watching this show, and wangesema mimi naweza taka kuwa mtu wa kutengeneza craft ya wood na anything, so long as itoke kama wood, because I remember sijui kama ulipitia hapa, the only reason kwa mama chipo alafu acheze kama
I never went through that. Mimi I never went through that. Maybe kazi yangu ilikuwa kubai chipo, si kupeleka kuni za kutengeneza.
Niko shwadi huko okota boy.
Mimi nilikuwa naokota tu ya chipo.
Okay. But hustle is real, Jackson.
Yeah, it's true.
Hustle is real.
It's
true. Hustle kweli.
Ai bana, mimi nime.
Simuanza tumfua juzi. Anyway, so this is the context of all this. That now you are into this for quite some time. So if you want to embrace this particular art, tuingie kabisa, tuseme kwamba pia sisi tunataka kufungua yetu kama Rustic Furniture. What are the basic things to consider?
I think one of the most important thing to consider is, first of all, know what you love. Start from you have to, or somebody else. Do it because you have that inner passion. And two, start from think or think you need these machines, you need, no. Start from what you have and from where you are. When it comes to sourcing material, you don't have to buy that expensive canvas or what. You can just start from that old cloth you have in your home. You can stretch something. When it comes to art or skills, many people don't start because they overthink. They think, I need to know this, I need to have this. No, you just need to have that passion and just start.
All right, and sourcing from what you have, you are at home, then mama ameacha mbao zingine hapo, ama ameacha glasses hazitumiki, then we get an inspiration to start from where you are. Now wewe sasa hizi unapita nazo. Then it becomes a crisis at home.
Yeah, I disagree. I really disagree to agree in some shape, because do that in other homes, not in a typical mom's home. Like my mother, if you take her glasses, my friend, take the glasses, drink yourself in that glass before she comes to you. Okay. Because she literally, hi mom.
I think that's what we are talking about African parents and art. When you do that, they will not understand that at the starting point it may look stupid or what, but after that, it may turn out even to be a career option.
So nakumbuka hata mtungi kitoboka, there's a way you can pimp it ikwe kuwekelea mata.
Just use the normal term.
I think it means you can upcycle it to be something.
So how can you
these are artistic terms. Artistic terms. Okay, so of course we need to embrace that. Uko home, there are so many things kuziweka zikwe na functions, no?
So
and that is why
tunasema nichukue nifikirie, I am now Hannah, you're becoming an artist. I started doing something artistic with your sufuria. Okay,
and that is why I think wakina Jackson unapata viatu mingi zimeharibika na zijashonwa.
Viatu na socks pia kwa kina Moses.
That's a good point. You know, anything can be a medium for art, and that way you solve two issues at once.
Indeed.
You find something to do with the time, and you reduce the waste. You know, instead of throwing away those shoes, you can use them to make art.
So how do we now involve business in all this? That if it's passion, then now sasa mimi nataka nipate do out of all this. Lazima do ikam, despite the fact that pia ni passion yenye nangangana nayo.
Something I've noticed when it comes to passion, the money comes automatically. When you're starting, don't be more focused on the monetary side.
Indeed.
Be focused on not even the outcome. Be focused on what you're doing.
Really?
You know, you're doing it for fun. But as you said, at the end of the day, you need to make money out of this. So my advice for artists is to separate the both. When you're doing art, being an artist, be an artist, don't be a businessman. But when it comes to business, be a businessman, don't be an artist.
So go to neutral.
Not neutral. That's a major issue when it comes to art. I think that's the major challenge that artists face. They don't know when to become a businessman and when to become an artist.
So what are you? How do you do that?
You need to be both. That's what I'm saying. When it comes to doing art, don't think hii kitu itani cost pesa ngapi au hii kitu itarudisha. Don't be thinking like that.
Indeed.
Just think this is the best thing I need to do. But when it comes to business, don't be thinking like an artist. I've put too much time into this. They are not appreciating enough. No, think as a businessman. I made this thing for this much money. I can sell it for this. This is the correct profit margin. So all I'm saying is you need to be. You don't be one. Be both. But know when to be an artist and know when to be a businessman.
For the purposes of an artist, it might take so long because now you're embracing passion. Then it takes so long before your product gets sold. then now tunaanza kuongelea story ya kwani hii kitu iendi, watu haipendi. Then now we start speaking about the story on money and itakuaje. Then now because I wonder pia the many artists that have also wameona vitu zao haziendi, then they got now into depression, then wana feel inaweza kaa bado, acha passion nikae. Sinaona. And with the rate of unemployment crisis right in the country, it's so bad that yeye alikuwa artist deadly, but because nini zake haziendi akaamua kuchorea. How will you handle that situation as a professional and of course as a long timer?
I personally faced that challenge. The space before finding a perfect product and finding a perfect market, especially in the current financial crisis, and also considering how Africans view art.
Indeed.
It has been one of the major challenges. I think what has changed is the coming of social media,
of course,
and influencer marketing. It has given the artist the chance not only to be able to personally sell their products, but now the artist can even sell other products.
Indeed.
So the current shift in the market is going to the side of the artist, but before it was against, because Africans, to be realistic, Africans don't appreciate art. They see it as a luxury, but in fact art is in our it wasn't even something was that like nowadays it is something a luxury, what rich people can afford. In African society, art was part of life.
Indeed.
So what I can advise the people is to take advantage of social media. I know it's a challenge, but social media has changed the game. If you just showcase your work and explain to the people how they can access it and what, it will change the game for the new artists and also solve the problem of unemployment. Yeah.
Kabisa. Na pia we can't forget the fact that pia nyinyi mnakuja in handy to make sure hizi stuff zina happen. Earlier on we'd spoken about exhibitions where you guys display your products na watu wazione. Then when Africans come there, they feel like, so what are this? So how are we able to help them understand all these things despite sumesema Africa hakuna market. Hiki tu unaweza niuzia 200 lakini on the other side unaweza niuzia 10,000. How would you help them understand that?
We need to improve how we view art, and we can do this through.
Indeed.
BC system is better because the children are learning about art and design.
Of course.
So the children are sorted. The problem is the market, which is our parents and our peers. They need to, let's call it civic education of the society. When people understand the value of art and the meaning of art, it's better appreciate it and improve the market.
Yeah. Jackson, unafeel lazima tusomee art like kama yenye nani anafanya?
Mimi nikiweza rudi shule saa hizi I really support the CBC system because si tukiwa shule hakuna kitu tulikuwa tunachora. Unapatiwa jua ishachorwa, you color the thing. Na tuhesabu alafu patterns hapo mwalimu ameandika hivi imelala, wewe fuata venye imelala. So for now I think Gen Alpha watakuwa more exposed na utapata like hiyo platform ya art. Unapata pia kuna classes za watoto. Unapata like some like Karen. I think you also go there because there's a time nilipita pale nikamuona pale kunaitwaje the organic farmers market. So ukienda pale organic farmers unapata pia kuna watoto wanachora, wanafunzwa kuchorwa pale. It's really an advantage to Gen Alpha than Gen Z and millennials.
I think that's the difference. When you go to Karen, before I started this art, I was selling my art at my home area. I come from Kikuyu. And what everybody used to tell me is, siwende uze hizi vitu Karen. Siwende Karen. You know, that's the problem. Instead of them appreciating, they just tell you to go where other people appreciate it. Instead of them understanding what is this art. And that's weird to me because Africans are more artistic than anybody else. But when it comes to the ground, I don't understand why they are. They will tell you to go to Karen, and I never understand that.
But because unajua this the other race, they're usually attracted by, you know, the African culture is everything. That's why you find most of the tourist attractions are found in Africa. In
True.
When you take them there, ukiwapata zile beads wakizivalia, you see the Maasai, the way they do it. For them, they don't understand it's our culture. They think it's beauty.
So maybe we go back to history.
Mimi nikizarudi pale
When you astrology.
No, I'm not an astrologer. No, but it's all about culture, but for them it's luxury.
Indeed.
So they love it and how colorful it is kwa nyumba pale. But for us, we take it seriously as our culture, itakuwa more, you know, more sensible in some type of way.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So, Mburu, how do you market yourself to make sure that people now absorb what you're creating?
Currently, I'm utilizing social media. Social media has changed everything. I don't know if people have noticed, it has changed even the advertising industry, because nowadays people want to see the process, the making process of the actual stuff. I think that's what has changed the dynamic of art. Now the producer has more, so social media is the main avenue right now for many artists.
Walisema ipigwe pia tax.
That would be counter. Exploit him more. You need actually to have tax incentives or grants in order to boost the art industry, because the art industry will solve the unemployment issue. Imagine if all the artists, fine artists, musicians, imagine if we create opportunities for them. How many people will gain employment for that? Not just the musicians, their producers, dancers, the whole industry we can unlock by empowering few artists.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Jackson, of course, when we had the conversation on Artistic Thursday, went alikuwa natuambia story ya si lazima uchore celeb ndio ni yako. I would like to also hear your thoughts on the same. Lazima pia utengeneze wood ya celeb, ya rais, ya minister, ya watu wako kwa government, ndio watu waone jamani mtu serious. Kama alitengeneza Ruto, then that means your product is selling a lot. How will you handle that?
That's a very important point, by the way. And that's only good for marketing. But when it comes to art, that's actually different to art. Art is not, art is something you use creativity and imagination.
Indeed.
When it comes to just drawing, that's just skill. That's not art. And that's what is making our art industry not to grow. The imitations and the limitations, they just want to draw some celebrity and get likes. But even when you look at history, the artists that we remember, the Van Gogh, the something unique, something out of their imagination and their own unique style.
Clearly.
An artist is all about doing something unique and having your own unique style.
Who's your role model?
That's,
I
don't have one. But if I had to choose one, I would say Chinua Achebe. Yeah, the writer.
Chinua Achebe.
Yeah.
All right, the writer.
Yeah.
Or inspires you in writing to create.
Yeah.
All right.
To create something that has a social impact and something that says a lot of where I'm from and my history and something like that.
That's really wise, no?
Yeah,
Tulikuwa tuna expect aseme mtu anapea anatengeneza kwa mikono, but that is really nice. You know Chinua Achebe?
I do. He's a writer.
Everyone knows he's a writer.
Nimemjua ni writer. I now know he's a writer. I can. He's still alive.
Chinua Achebe.
He's late.
I'm not sure. I'll try.
Oi, I just wanted to know kama ako ndio nimpate nimwambie I also need your inspiration. You know I can write. But the most is I can write.
It's okay.
I can write. No,
so long as you're not writing
okay.
about me.
I can write.
It's
I can
good.
also write about you, but I just don't have the content yet, so.
All right,
I'll
I'll
look for
give you some
Chinua
days, Silvio. Then now in the aspect of course, as you know, she wants to get a voice, and as inspiring as she sounds.
Yeah, I know I'm sounding like close to Beyonce, but I don't want to show off. But you know, I can sing better than you. That's for real. I can
Uzuri,
sing
it's
better
not
than you.
Chinwa's. So anyway, this is the point.
Okay.
This is the point. So of course, ladies are also here represented by Jackson.
Yeah.
And of course, in the art industry, are women, the female gender, embracing this kind of art.
When you look about art, when you talk about art, especially in Africa, 90% of the supporters of art are women.
Indeed.
To be totally sincere, even in my work, I mostly deal with house items, and most people who buy house items are women. So without women, the art industry would be next to zero. You know, the most consumers of music are women. So women are very important when it comes to art, consuming and also creating.
Indeed.
Yeah.
All right. They're very important.
We are
Very
very
important.
But they get tired too much.
Oh, that's all right. We don't.
No. When
How
it
could you
comes-
do in the sense of beauty, your art, your perfection, sindio?
Yeah.
But nyinyi sasa ni manpower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But man is not to suffer. Even in the Bible, it's written.
Even there are a lot of women currently. There are a lot of women doing decor. When it comes to fine art, especially in Kenya, there are a lot of female artists. And that is something I think we should also look at.
Of course.
How art is empowering women in Africa. Yeah.
Is it empowering them?
Very much.
Sasa napiga sababu
True,
Jackson
true.
akianza kuchonga ba.
My God, I can do this, you know.
Si tu kuifanya.
Even Bido is
Pia music ina inspire women. Art iko inspired by women. A lot of art inakuwa inspired by African women. Yeah.
Wow. Ndio maana I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that. But it's really nice. So in the context of all us understanding now the value of art, kupata hiyo do, kupata passion, either is it a male or a female working on it, how would you describe now the current state of art? Sana sana hiyo ya wood hapa Kenya. Are people really into it?
No. Juu currently mtu ataona ataprefer kwenda kubuy kitu kwa supermarket ile kitu ya China than hiyo kitu ya wood. Alafu there's very few people actually looking for that rustic product. Na akipata ni ngumu kumexplainia ile utasikia akisema hizi ni miti tu. So ni ngumu kuexplainia watu wa huku the difference between just normal furniture and that rustic furniture. Rustic furniture has that character and what in your house.
Kweli.
The other furniture will just serve a purpose.
All right.
Yeah.
That means serving a purpose for the greatness.
Yeah.
Is that Jax?
When it comes to rustic, we call it functional art. That's
Really?
just functional art.
Really?
It's the table, at the same time it's an art piece.
I think na feel tuko empowered in the context of all this.
Kwanza.
All right.
Like all those things, I went through your profile, I saw what you're making, some shoe racks, some holders. Do you do this alone, or do you have like maybe other people who are helping you, and also your organization, like what's the name, and how many are you in the organization, and how do you manage to even do it? Like maybe how do you do it? Because I'm very sure you cannot do this all alone. You also require some extra manpower.
Of course.
Funny enough, I do it alone. Aspect of the business, I like working with my fellow artists. When I make the stuff, I make it alone. But when it comes to exhibition and what, I like collaborating. You know, collaboration is what will take our industry where it needs to be. Because most young people don't collaborate. I don't know what's happening and what.
It's all about just being alone and just succeeding alone.
I think that's what modern society promotes, that individuality, and it's not good. When it comes to young people, we need to collaborate and grow that thing. Although I work alone at the workshop,
Tunaandike kazi. Ndakusaidia na kuwa tu meet.
Although I work alone.
Just give him 2 tasks and then we'll start. I'm just breathing in and out. It's true. Yesterday we gave. Let me just give you an example.
Si lazima. So the point is, of course, you're working alone, and there is the point of collaboration.
Yes.
I'm thinking in the aspect now, has the government come in handy to collaborate with local artists, na pia maybe the society kama kuna organizations that support artists kama nyinyi. So ukiangalia sasa gava vile vitu ni ngumu sasa. So how's the collaboration been unto you local artists?
I can say the previous government ignored the art sector. Which is unfortunate, which also shows why there's high level of unemployment to the youth. I think the current government is taking steps like making the, what do you call it, the arena and the internet services. But I think they can do more. They just have to create the needed facilities, get the social halls, they just have to create the markets.
Really?
We can do the rest. We are prepared to do what we need to do, but we need that extra help. When it comes to market, when it comes to venues, you know, if we had an arena, the entertainment industry would be much better.
Really?
If we had good studios, if we had let's say creation process of the art. If we facilitate that, marvelous impact on the industry, people make more money and people get jobs.
Sasa Mburu anaongelea in the context of art, because bado tuko na hii feeling ya if at all maybe the government is supporting the local youths na pia wa vijana ina support kwa kazi kwa vijana. No, but is it only that when you speak about kazi kwa vijana we are only speaking about cleaning na kutoa hizo stuffs? Why not embrace watu kina Mburu are embracing also art in the best way?
Yeah, I think it brings back to what we said, how we view art.
Cleaning is art, right?
That's a kind of an art. It depends how you look at it.
Art, also when I wash utensils, I'm an artist. If I do my
It depends how you do it. You can be an artist.
How can you wash utensils in an artistic way? Okay, like you wash like this. This is a cup. You wash, you smile, you put it back. That is art. No, cleaning cannot be artistic.
Unless maybe the definition of art
it depends.
Okay, I understand. Unaweza osha vyombo na unaimba, so that is art.
That's brings back to how society views art. African society has a negative impact of art. When you're doing art, people won't take you serious. When you're going to sing, like people at home, oh, umeenda kuimba, they won't take it serious. That's where we need to start. How people view art.
Indeed.
As simple as that.
But mimi naona view art vibaya time hujaomoka. Ukishapata pesa, babu wewe ni babu mkubwa sasa.
True.
Ukiomoka wewe umekuwa msanii, kioo cha jamii. Sasa baadaye ukiomoka hapo ndio unakuwa kioo cha jamii. Hizi msanii ni kioo cha jamii chini ya maji. Ukishaomoka kioo cha jamii sasa visibly.
Of course.
Yes.
Come anyway. So this is the point. So we want to wind up this session. What will be your final take or an advice to a local artist, my youths na any other person that wants to embrace art, not necessarily kwe woodworks, inaweza kuwa any other thing, but now because you have a great timeline, hadi umeni store. Unajua she didn't update me on the age. I thought I was the oldest here. So what will be your advice on that?
My advice would be everybody is an artist, first of all.
Indeed.
You just have to find your passion and your medium.
Indeed.
And considering where this world is heading, looking at the technological advancement and what, like we are heading to an era where we'll have robots. So all the manual jobs and the autonomous job will be taken by the robots. So what left to do is only art. So art will just be a way to make money, it will be a way to make sense of life and just to spend your time. So in the near future, I think everybody will be an artist.
Indeed.
So we have to start embracing it or not.
Right.
So we have to prepare our young children to where this world is heading, because right now they are learning the same things, maths, what, but when you consider where this world is heading, those careers won't help be available in the first place.
All right. That is wise. Thank you so much, Mburu Thiongo. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It's an honor to have you right here.
Thank you.
All right, so we want to do an outro.
Before we do an outro, I have a
we are out of
question.
time, actually.
This question, usually, you know, it's really burning. Like, what's your greatest or who's your biggest support system?
My greatest support system is, how can I say this?
Put it in an artistic way.
Over the time I've found out is the normal people in society. You think, especially as an artist, you may think you have no support, but people really support you in the background and what. So my support system is my peers and people who love art like me.
So, thank you so much, your peers. Thank you so much. Allow me now to say that, of course, we've embraced art in fullness. Of course, earlier on we had Michelle Onjiku, a gospel artist. Now, Mitchell's come away, of course, to the blend of the sound. That is Sound of Grace. And of course, even as we embrace art, remember, this is the only place where we make it happen. Of course, as our producers say, this is the room for excellence. My name is
My name is Henry Jackson. I really had a great time interacting with artists from the morning time that we started with Michelle. We sang, it was melodious. You know, I got 2 minutes of fame at that moment. Now, as we just interacted with Mburu Thiongo, an artist, in a very special way, it was a great time for me. I don't know about you, because I really learned a lot, and I've really gotten to know a lot in the artistic world.
Thank you so much. See you next week. Happy weekend.